With us is David Friedberg. You may know him as one of the besties from the powerhouse All In podcast. Sarah Guo, founder of the AI-focused firm Conviction and co-host of No Priors, your essential guide to the AI revolution. And finally, business historian Ben Gilbert, co-host of the chart-topping podcast Acquired. His better half is also here. David Rosenthal, where are you? Hi, David. Anyway, I don't know how Ben got this plum assignment. You guys need to talk about that later. But let's start, Ben, with you. You're known your show is known for its 300-hour deep dives into company histories and playbooks. Your last two Alphabet and Google episodes were collectively over 8 hours.
Now 12 with
Now 12 hours. At what point do you stop calling these podcasts and start calling it like an unabridged audiobook?
Yes, you're correct.
All right, so, but what company have you studied? You really evaluate businesses, give the history, which is so fascinating. What company have you studied where the public narrative did not match with the real story behind the scenes?
It's funny. I mean, this is essentially what we try to do on every episode. One that comes to mind is Microsoft. People sort of remember the Steve Ballmer years as this like dead time, this lost decade for the company. And when I reflect back, like as we dug in on the whole arc of the company, there's basically two bets that mattered. 1997, betting on the enterprise, and then 2008, betting on the cloud. And they tried a whole bunch of stuff that didn't work. I mean, Zune and Skype and buying Aquantive and like all the stuff that didn't matter because everything in the world is power law distributed. Each of those bets are trillion-dollar successes. And I think that's one of the biggest learnings for me from the whole show is even at every scale, when you build a portfolio of bets, the winners hide all the losers.
And Sarah, I know that your No Priors is a guide for people who really want to understand the AI frontier. And you've said that AI creates a leverage for a 20-person team to build $1 billion business. And I'm just curious, how is the AI frontier, in your view, expanding into legacy sectors that aren't on most investors' radar?
So I've been an investor for a long time, and there are areas of the economy like healthcare or education that just move more slowly for a number of reasons than, I don't know, tech or finance or marketing, some of the places where technology touches first. But like in the last few years, 1 billion consumers have experienced some sort of like really powerful experience with AI. Like I think we should all admit it's pretty wild that we can ask questions of these chat assistants. I want to talk to Martha's kids and convince them that it's like not evil.
I don't believe that for a second, that they're not into AI.
They're not into AI?
Yeah, what 13-year-old's not into AI?
We're going to have a discussion. Where
that was interesting.
But all of these consumers have experienced it.
Also,
now.
her chewing out Joe Manchin was fun, too. Is he still here? Is Joe still here?
Just Heather.
Oh, Heather, you got to tell your dad what she said. Anyway, go ahead, Sarah, sorry.
No. So the interesting thing is, like, if you take an area like healthcare, like, doctors are people, too, right? And there are companies like Open Evidence. It's not 20 people anymore. It's like 60, I think. But in 2 years, they now reach half the doctors in the country. The average user uses it every day. That speed is unheard of in healthcare. And it's because doctors, like, they have problems like the rest of us. They want to reduce toil, have an easier job at work, keep up with things like medical research, which is advancing at this impossible pace. And so when tools show up that are designed for them and kind of get them to the finish line, they're going to adopt them, even if their organizations move a little more slowly. And so I think that's like very inspiring. It's exciting.
David, we had breakfast, and I love your backstory. Like you're kind of an unlikely podcaster, and I asked David, do you like it? And he said, not really. So tell us about your journey and how you got into this line of work, especially, and tell us a little more about your background, which is fascinating.
I spend a couple hours a week doing this podcast. It wasn't something I intended to do, and every week I consider leaving and not doing it. It's a real pain in the ass, and I got to put up with a lot of bullshit. So it's
Other than that,
it's wonderful. But it's I have some friends, and the one guy wanted to be interviewed by the other guy, and I'm sure everyone knows who they are. And they were going to do a podcast, and then COVID hit, and they asked me to join them on the first episode and talk about COVID. So I did, and then I joined the second one, and they said, hey, from time to time, why don't we shoot a podcast, and we'll go on Zoom, and we'll talk, and that's what it turned into. And yeah, that's how the thing took off. So I never had an intention of doing it. It's wonderful to meet people that tell me stories about how they were inspired to go into entrepreneurship or change their life or do something that was deeply impactful to them because of something that was said on the show. That keeps me going. Recruiting, fundraising, commercial stuff in my day-to-day job where I run a company called Ohalo is much more kind of easy. It's almost like a lubricant for business by having this kind of known personality from the podcast. People know who I am. It creates kind of an authentic sense of who I am that people can kind of relate to, and then they're willing to do business with me or
And
want
kind
to
of an intimacy that they wouldn't otherwise
I can't
have.
tell you how many people tell me, oh, I fell asleep listening to you, and I'm like, that's very weird. Like,
Is that a compliment?
I'm like, God, I actually don't know if it's good or not, right? So I know made you fall asleep, or that's very weird. But no, I think that there's like this the sense that you build what I think people would call a brand. I don't like that term, but they're like, oh, there's a brand, and I'm like, I just want to be myself, and just maybe take the opportunity. People are going to listen to talk.
I feel like you like it more than you put on.
You'd be surprised.
All right, we're going to do some rapid fire
Trying to get out,
questions.
too.
Is the era of the two founders in a garage officially dead, or can a small unknown team still change the world? Remember, we don't have a lot of time. David.
Absolutely, it's alive and well. I believe deeply in this notion of power laws, where a better machine can absolutely go and consume and succeed in its environment in an exponential way. And that's really about the genetics of the machine. And if you have good genetics, you can go and win in an environment.
Sarah.
Every single one of our most interesting companies, a bunch that have gotten to 100 million of run rate pretty quickly, are started by two founders. You know, more likely in a dorm room or like a lame office building in San Francisco than a garage, but it's happening. Yeah.
Ben.
Yes.
Okay.
So, by the way, let me just say one thing. I think the real question is, can the big companies actually compete against the founders in the garage?
Okay, go.
And that's a harder
they?
one. That is a harder one. I think it actually requires like real cultural change, particularly in the era of AI. And I think every traditional industry is at risk of being deeply disrupted more than ever right now. I don't know if you guys have.
Sarah and Ben, you want to weigh in?
Tech was super boring from 2015 to 2022. I mean, we were sort of through most of the mobile penetration. Everybody was making some slightly better vertical SaaS thing. And, you know, I was a VC, and there was, we all wanted the next wave to happen. Is it crypto? Is it VR? Is all this frontier tech? And none of it was. And so now, for the first time, I think, yes, startups, two-person teams actually do have more going for them than big companies do.
I was literally on the verge of, you know, like giving up on venture because it was so boring.
I
But
did.
Yeah, I just started a new firm because I thought the AI thing was real.
Next question, remote work. After years of debate, what's the call, net positive or net negative, for building an iconic, long-lasting company? Dave.
Negative.
Negative? Remote work is negative. Okay, Sarah.
It's definitely negative.
Iconic and long-lasting, negative. Great for lots of people, but like if you want to build an outlier-ishly successful thing, you're probably doing that in person.
All right. Which industry, barely on the radar today, will be absolutely essential in a decade?
Robotics.
Okay.
Robotics.
Pass.
Do you want to elaborate a little bit on the robotics answer, Dave?
I think the confluence of machine vision and these kind of vision language action models where you can effectively think about having a general purpose Android type operating system that you could put into any form factor that can now observe its environment and use that machine action model to say in natural language, I would like you to pick up that glass of water, unleashes the potential of robotics. And that's sort of happening now, this moment that we're in right now. I don't think anyone realizes it, but coming out of this moment, everything's going to change. And you can look to China. There's a company called Unitree. That's a very early, people make fun of like some of the behavior of that Unitree robot system. But if you think about hundreds of companies like that, all enabled by technology that Unitree is several years behind from a software perspective, it's not just about replacing human labor. It's about creating extraordinary leverage for entrepreneurs, for individuals to do things that they otherwise can't do today. And I think it's going to unleash economic productivity like we've never seen.
Ben, still a pass?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a historian.
Okay. What emerging technology currently dismissed by most as a niche hobby or a toy has the greatest potential to become a foundational part of daily life in the next decade?
I don't think it'll surprise a lot of people in this room, but I think in the venture capital community, people look at tools for creativity, like making music or videos or any of these things, as like kind of odd. Like people tell me all the time they don't understand what the use case is to make this. And I'm like, people want to make stuff. Like more people want to make stuff. And I think a lot of people in the technology industry, they don't understand that and they don't understand the businesses. But I think some of these things will be very, very widespread.
So creative assistance, really.
Yeah, creative tools, yeah.
Yeah. What, any thoughts from either of you guys?
I'll say it's a step removed from everyone's daily life, but we have extraordinary demand for energy, for electricity, because of robotics, because of AI, because of the evolution of digital technologies. That's not going to be met by traditional scaling systems being scaled. I do think that fusion energy, which is a kind of breakthrough technology, it's been talked about for 100 years. There are nearly 100 fusion companies right now. But AI is actually accelerating the necessary advancements in fusion technology. And what that means is that 10 meters by 10 meters by 10 meters of ocean water can be converted into enough electricity for the entire planet for a year, if it works. And I think we're very close to it working. And when it does work, and when I say close, I mean a decade plus or minus, just to be clear, which everyone's always joked it's always a decade away. But we're at this moment where we're, like China ran a fusion, 100 million degree Celsius plasma fusion system for 30 minutes a few weeks ago. And that was up from 7 to 12 to 30 in just a few months. And we're very close to getting these things to kind of run continuously. So electricity becomes cheap and abundant. And that, I think, defines what happens on Earth over the back half of this century.
Ben, anything come to mind that you think is going to really be essential?
I mean, depending how fast Google can roll it out, self-driving cars, I think Waymo is just unbelievably impressive and went from this, yeah, maybe one day we'll have self-driving cars, but it keeps being 10 years away, to like, 5 launch cities and millions of miles driven, and it is just better, like whole, in every way. It's kind of like when we blew past the Turing test a few years ago and no one cared and no one talked about it. It's like, what do you mean? There's this computing miracle that happened, and we now can't tell if things are human or not. We're going to go, society at large is going to go from self-driving skeptical to like, of course it's better in every way, and it will be the like, there should be a ticker tape parade, and there won't be.
Who, in your all's view, is one person from any field who isn't a podcast host now, but would absolutely crush it as a podcaster? Anybody come to mind?
After yesterday, Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah. Definitely a great guest, if she'll talk about everything. Who do you think, Dave?
The problem is everybody is a podcast host now.
Okay.
Yeah, or I'm like,
I know, that's true.
I just haven't heard it, yeah.
I think Kate Middleton would be great, and I think she would be huge, huge podcast success. All right, what's your pre-show ritual? Coffee, tea, or adrenaline?
Skip the morning workout. I do like a big carby dinner the night before. We stand when we record. David and I do it, and we record for 8 to 10 hours, and it's like one single session to one-shot the episode.
Do you wear Depends?
No, we take bathroom breaks, but it's an endurance activity.
It's like a Taylor Swift concert.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your pre-game ritual, Sarah?
I mean, the podcast for us is a side quest, so I like run in 3 minutes late from a meeting, and I'm like, oh my God, it's you! Yeah.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty last. We record at 11 a.m. on Thursday, so I have kind of a morning of meetings, and then I jump in. I drink a Diet Coke to try and stay awake.
Okay, a podcast you have listened to every episode of. Dave?
I don't have an answer. I actually don't listen to podcasts.
Do you listen to your own?
No, I don't. I listen to books. That's all I listen to. I don't really listen to podcasts.
Sarah?
I did listen to a few of Ben's, which I thought were great. So nice.
Thanks, Friedberg.
I
chose too.
I'm sorry, but it was the Costco. Someone mentioned to me that there's this great show on Costco. So I listened to their Costco episode, and then I was like, that was awesome. And then I started clicking through, and I listened to a whole bunch of them. So I thought it was awesome. And that's what's great about his show, by the way, is it's very timeless. and you can dial in. So I did like that.
Right, and
Yeah.
you don't have to do it in order. You can just pick something that's
Totally.
interesting too. Do you guys have some favorite podcasts that you like?
I mostly listen to audiobooks because like 90% of my time is now researching the next episode. But I will say, like, I think I've listened to every episode of Dithering, which is a crossover podcast between John Gruber, who's like an Apple blogger back from the 90s, early 2000s, and Ben Thompson, who is the smartest technology analyst in the world.
Sarah, do you have any faves?
I listen to Ben's. I listen to like a good number of Invest Like the Best. If anybody's heard of
So
this.
good.
Yeah, it's talking to investors from all different asset classes about how they see the world. I think that's interesting. I'm looking for one for my kids. I feel like that's like not a category that's
Interesting.
as richly populated. Guys, we need stuff for the kids.
And you've got 3 of them, so you need
great idea.
something to take their time.
Yeah, otherwise I'm going to make the AI generate, and it's not going to be
There's
as
a
good.
kids podcaster in the audience who wants to talk later.
I see you.
Okay,
By the way,
podcast.
Gemini has this insane storybook feature. Have you seen it?
It's
Yeah.
wild.
It's insane how
That's
good
really
it is.
good. And Google Ad
My
right
kids
here.
are like addicted.
Great.
We make storybooks now. It's awesome. Anyway,
Yep.
sorry.
Okay, I have to tell my daughter for
Yeah.
my grandson. Podcast swap. For one episode, you have to host one of the other's podcasts. Who would it be?
Is Jason going to be on?
Good question. You could tell me.
I would do All In. I think it'd be incredibly fun.
You'd be great on All In.
And I'm not smart enough to talk to your guest, Sarah.
No, we're not either. That's what makes it fun. We have to translate for the rest of the world. Yeah. Yeah. Like at least half the besties, you know?
Yeah, I know. I was telling Ben I'd like to see them do, so I could help an episode on Monsanto. Monsanto bought my company, and there's a very big delta between, I think, the public perception of Monsanto and the actual history and operations of that company. It's very interesting history. So I'd be
Noted on the list.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're about to wrap up and have lunch, which I'm excited about. But what do you see as the future of podcasting? Obviously, it's pretty saturated, right? How do you see, to use Martha's word, it evolving in the future?
I'll reference what Alex was saying. 100% it's about live events. If you're going to evolve the business, we just finished our summit. We'll do about 10 live events this year. We're doing one at Formula One. We're doing one in SF. We do collab live events now, and they are awesome. It's an amazing new form of entertainment that people love to go to. They love the community aspect. They love getting the content. And then we always throw parties and dinners, and there's this whole experiential thing. So it's not like a concert or a music festival. It's actually interesting and engaging, and you actually connect with your community. So I think that the successful podcasts evolve into really successful live event businesses. And honestly, selling ads on the podcast may not be the real business.
Sarah?
Our podcasts, like the audience is engineers, researchers, nerds, business people, Silicon Valley, like investors. And I am shocked by the number of people who are like, are you guys, like, where's the merch? Are you guys gonna do like brand stuff? And I'm like, this isn't a real business. That, like, we're just hanging out with other nerds. And so I
Update your priors.
Yes, exactly. But I think people, they sign up for a community. They sign up for like representing that they understand something as an identity. And maybe Alad's right, and we should do tequila.
And Ben,
Oh yeah, tequila's a good business too.
you sold out Radio City.
Yes.
That must have been exciting. Do you agree with Dave? It's sort of live events.
Yeah, because it's scarce. I think the only reason Acquired has worked at all is because we do something that people don't do mostly. I mean, there's very few podcasts like us out there. And so I think leaning into whatever makes your podcast unique in the world, for us, it's almost never having an episode. And then when there is an episode, it's like a giant deal and it's like a book release. And I think figuring out how to lean into whether it's doing Radio City once a year or only 8 book-like episodes a year, whatever it is for anyone's show, it's so noisy out there that like do something unique and scarce.
All right. Well, Ben, Sarah, Dave, this was really fun. Thank you all so much
Thanks,
for doing
Katie.
this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.